Hi everyone, I'm really excited for today's video because I made a new intro and outro, and I think they turned out awesome. Today's video is going to be about 5 possible game mechanics that could be brought to Pokemon Sun and Moon, where I'll be suggesting previous game mechanics from the main series to spin-offs, notably Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and the Pokemon Ranger series plus many more. So here we go with number 1. Entei Suicune Raikou Ranger Sign Mechanic via Key Item. Ever since ORAS, they gave the player the ability to fly around the region with Latias or Latios via Aeon Flute. But did you know that wasn't the first time you could do that? In Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs, the player was allowed to fly around their region with Latios or Latias via Ranger Sign. The player also had the ability to fly with Staraptor in the sky. But what does that have to do with Entei Suicune and Raikou? In Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs, the player was allowed to mount all 3 legendary beasts, where if they brought the mechanic of flying from Guardian Signs to ORAS, then in theory, they could bring the mounting mechanic from Guardian Signs to Sun and Moon. We've seen examples presented from XY through the Rhydon, Skiddo, and Mamoswine riding mechanic. Which means, if this does actually become true, we might be receiving a Mega Entei, Mega Suicune, and Mega Raikou. But if they do get Megas, they might have the possibility of traveling in the sky. Number 2. A legendary Pokemon based on contradiction. But how does this work? Well, it only exists because it's a non-existent entity. I know this logic is very contradicting. This is quite an interesting case because the base idea derives from the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon final boss battles where in Gates to Infinity they had to fight Bitter Cold and in Super Mystery Dungeon they had to fight Dark Matter. A common theme that reoccurs with these entities is that they're both created from negative emotions / feelings of Pokemon. I was trying to find a label for these entities together. At first, I was thinking of going with the first poison type legendary because it's such a toxic relationship. But if you do notice, that doesn't send out a good message. So instead, I went with the contradiction legendary because the game developers can have fun with this concept and create something clever. For that contradiction legendary, I feel like that it should be that unknown type. It would explain a lot, including that mysterious Arceus sprite typing that was left over data in Gen 4. And let me tell you, I don't even want to add Hoopa's Unbound Shadow into this equation, or that time that Fake Groudon got tentacles. It gets way too complicated, and I'm surprised why they haven't made the unknown type official yet. Number 3. Battle Brain reappearance as Elite Four in Sun and Moon. I would like to see another appearance of a previous Battle Brain as one of the Elite Four members in Sun and Moon, like that time Caitlyn, who was the headmaster of the Battle Castle, later became an Elite Four member in Unova. With ORAS as a different universe that has the Battle Maison available to the player instead of Emerald's Battle Frontier, where did they all go? Are they all gym leaders now in different regions? What happened to them? I'm banking on another Battle Brain making it as an Elite Four member in Sun and Moon, hopefully. Number 4. More catchable interactable Pokemon. One thing that I missed in Gen 6 were the interactable Pokemon. We only had a Snorlax that blocked a path. I always enjoyed catchable interactable Pokemon because they were special. I would feel like I accomplished something great by solving the mystery even though it was usually meant for my convenience. I mean, like, even in XY, we had many Gen 6 Pokemon that had the potential to blend in with their surroundings. Number 5. Return of the Pokeathlon. The final one was quite an abnormal choice. I just had the feeling that I wanted a new timeless activity than just having to battle trainers constantly. I was debating between many old favorites from the bug catching contest in National Park to the Game Corner slot machines to super contests, to the old Poke Raiders Poketch mechanic, to Amity Square, to your Pokemon following you around, to player customization, to Pokeball seals. To a fusion idea of a customizable friend safari where the safari is more larger and spaced out so you wouldn't have to go back and forth to the service desk when changing friend safaris. I felt like the Pokeathlon was really underrated and they could remake it into a Super Pokeathlon, paralleling contests from Hoenn to super contests in Sinnoh. What I liked about the Pokeathlon was that the design was memorable and the building's bottom floor had specialized rooms dedicated to keeping records, including you as a Pokeathlete that made record-breaking history in the Pokeathlon. It was sentimental to read Magnus's speech in the friendship room. The music set the theme perfectly in the friendship room, and it was so heartwarming that the game developers paid extra attention to the detail of every single possible Pokemon that could appear in the friendship room. It showed that they cared, and I thank them for that because it was timeless. I would enjoy the feature hours on end to try to break my records. Moving on to mention that Japan is hosting the Summer Olympics in 2020, which would make sense for it to appear in Sun and Moon, or it might be way too early. Then again, they might switch the Pal Park with this because of this, since this replaces that, which could parallel how these turn into super contests to that region, or is way too early to predict Sinnoh remakes before 2020. The return of the Pokeathlon might be difficult considering that there are 2 Pal Parks, one in Kanto and one in Sinnoh, and that Apricorns are needed for the Appri Blender's performance boosting juice. Rounding this up is that I'm looking forward to Sun and Moon regardless. I'm hoping that we're in for a twist. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. If you learned something new from this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more, and if you already did, take care fam.